So I wanted to talk about Real Sporting de Gijón, this incredible academy in the north of Spain. Really amazing. It's been taken over last year by this fella called Alejandro Irarragorri, and he's a really interesting guy. Real business head in him. Kind of sold a significant company that he built up in the first few years of his life, sold it in his early 40s. And then he decided just to get involved in the thing that he loves, which is football. So got involved with a kind of baseball franchise initially or something like that. But then, he just realized he loved football so much. He seemed to just buy one of the clubs that it was involved with, this club called in Mexico called Laguna Santos. And he's kind of like, become this multi club group called Orlegi Sports. While we were at the UEFA Regions Cup, and we got a tour of this amazing academy that they have in a very, very beautiful part of Spain, the north of Spain on the Atlantic coast. It's just a stunning part of Spain and very green. And it has this incredible academy. And but the amazing thing about this is the entire philosophy of this club. This Orlegi Sports is a very interesting business or group. So they're very much into, anyone's watched the film Moneyball. You know, this guy, Alejandro Orlegi, has a real business head. And he's coming from a business side of things and systems thinking. And so he's approaching this whole thing with a much more commercial perspective. So, for example, in the stadium, I think it's called the Corona Stadium. I'm not too sure, in Laguna Santos. They invested 100 million into the stadium, and now the stadium is kind of a much more kind of entertainment complex. Does a lot of concerts, so it's multifunctional, and they invest in the technology to do that. Another thing that they did very quickly, they turned the fortunes of this club around. So they've done very well in the last 12, 13 years, and they bought another one. So they 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 have they operate two clubs in the same league, in the Premier Division of the of the Mexican League. And then, interestingly enough, he's been learning and cross fertilizing and doing all these things, whatever. But he must like the Irish or something, because he sent a load of people over to a lot of his people over to Celtic in Scotland to try and learn, and try and pick up and obviously just learn from other people around. Again, this is what businesses do. And they came back after 9 months with a lot of the analysis. So he was one of the first clubs to really bring analysis and the strength of analysis into that club. So he's built up an awful lot of data driven, management, both on the field and off the field. Another thing that they do is they have a real strong emphasis on education, making sure that all their players and people involved in the clubs are continually educating themselves and improving themselves. A process of holistic, continuous improvement, effectively. So it's a very interesting dynamic, especially when you compare it to oligarch, Glazer type money, money, money. There's a real passion for football here. He clearly states that football is a loss maker. You don't get into football to make money. Of course, some people do, but there's other huge benefits from football in terms of societal benefits and socioeconomic benefits, all sorts of things that football can do that are not exactly profit driven, but very, very good for societies. And I think that's what seems to motivate this person. So, well worth just looking at the setup here in this place called Real Sporting de Gijón. He had been thinking about moving into the Premier League or the Championship, just like so many other people are doing at the moment. But he eventually ended up in Real Sporting de Gijón. So he eventually ended up investing in this club, and now he's a leading player in this legendary club in the north of Spain. And the incredible thing about this is that I don't know whether he knew this or even if it was part of his plan, but while I was doing some research on this, I realized that the Laguna Santos club that he originally bought, that he poured his money into and play in this cool stadium, 30,000 seater stadium in Mexico, that team was originally set up by Asturian immigrants. Now, Asturias is the province that Real Sporting play in, setting up a football team, which was initially called Asturias FC, Asturias Football Club. So it's a really interesting story, because this club is a jewel in the crown. It really is. And they're doing some amazing things. And one of the amazing things, and the reason why we were up there, was to learn about their international football academy. But what they've been doing, and they've done a lot of investment, and they've created kind of residencies and all sorts of stuff, and they're just launching their first international football academy course. It's built around these 4 pillars of soccer training, cultural immersion, personal growth, and social responsibility. So it is aimed at players that could potentially become football professionals, of course. So it's for those between 18 and 23 years old. So many of these players that would be interested in this are maybe, from particular type of backgrounds, but have just missed the boat, or maybe are late developers, or just for whatever reason they're not getting the breakthroughs, and they could really do with a year's immersion. Remember, a lot of people focus on their studies, and because of that, they may not have had the opportunity to train. I mean, effectively, training twice a week and a bit of a game on a weekend isn't enough if you want to make a career out of football. But the other thing we need to realize as well is that football is opening up in terms of there's a huge amount of opportunities within football. If you love football, playing it is the most rewarding financially, yes, but you can still add huge amounts of value. And the way that football is growing, more and more people are needed, and the money's growing. So there'll be plenty of jobs in football in the future. It's doubling in size because of women getting into the game, and there's tremendous opportunities for those who don't make it as a footballer, and then there's also new opportunities for those who think they can make it as footballers. There's actually new pathways that are available, and a little bit of ingenuity, a little bit of thinking outside the box can help you to, maybe if you didn't make it in the kind of standard pathway that's available to you at your club or at your school or at your university or whatever it is, there's always another way that you can go, and this is one of those ways. So the methodology in this school is top level. You're a professional footballer and you live the professional football life, and in between training and in between studying, and studying is a big part of this, you will be immersing in the language and the society, the town. It's an incredible place to visit and be in. It's right beside the sea. There's always so much to do, but this is very much around tactical, conditional, technical, and emotional. It's not always about how talented you are. It really isn't. There's so many talented players who don't have the work ethic. It's much more important, obviously, the athleticism, your natural athleticism, the way you're built, the kind of physique that you have. These are the things that scouts are looking for. Obviously, your tactical awareness, your ability to work within the team, the normal stuff that any student is required. Any student who wants to become a doctor or a lawyer or any profession, to become a professional footballer these days, you really have to learn these skills. And with the kind of money that's available to play in it, to be rewarded in playing football, it's actually worth it. If you're that highly skilled, it's worth considering these type of opportunities, because it really is up to you then. If you have the talent and you have this type of opportunity and you can go through a thing like this, then everyone knows that you're serious. And it's not just this, there's other opportunities as well. If you think you're good enough, you can start traveling and you can start trying to go around Europe like everybody else. What I'm trying to say here is that there are other pathways available. Everywhere around the world, not everybody has the structured pathway that we have in Ireland. And it's great to have the League of Ireland. It's great to have all these things. So also remember that there are other things. And the most important thing for any player is up to 18 years of age is actually their education, because that's the thing that's going to stand to you for the rest of your life. How you learn to study, how you learn to apply yourself, to think things through, to manage your projects, is actually how you're going to learn to become a professional footballer. And if you skip those really important skill sets and characteristics that you need to build up, you're going to have problems even if you do make it as a professional footballer. So it's very, very important to make sure that education is key. So one of the other areas that they do is, they're huge into analysis now. And Sporting de Gijón has a massive analysis centre. So even though the second division club, like in the championship, there's serious investment and serious systems in place there. Even if you just look at the website of this club, I mean, it's a model for any club to use, from in apps for their supporters. The whole thing is really nice, really nice and tidy, and gives us it would teach anyone that's going over there about how a club um should be managed or could be managed. So that's another thing that you're going to be learning in a place like this, is the business of football. And if you just play football and close yourself off to the many opportunities in football that are going to be coming up, that are opening up now, but all coming up in terms of sports science, all these other areas, if you close yourself off to that, you're doing yourself no favor. You're doing yourself no favor, because your career is going to be short enough anyway. And then after that, you'll have something to fall back on. And also, if you don't make it for whatever reason, then you have something that keeps you involved in this amazing game for as long as possible. As far as I can understand, they have in the 18 to 23, they have, like, let's say 23 places, 24 places, but there's I think there's 10 spots for international students. So what they're doing here is quite interesting. They're developing a team. They have a team, right, that play in, like, the regional competitions, right? So you're playing in leagues and all that. And these international students, once they have their visas correct, are able to play in that and then train as a professional. So effectively, you're training at a very high level, and playing at a very high level. And so this is a great entry point. This is a superb opportunity for a player who knows or feels that they have it, but they just haven't had the breaks. This is a dream come true, basically, for a lot of people. It's an opportunity to get in the ring. There's players out there who, for an opportunity like this, geez, you could even, fundraise for the bloody thing. I mean, it's not, if you're that good, if you're good enough, but you just, for some reason, you just haven't had the breaks, or you just haven't had enough time. How many of our players in Ireland are superb football players, but chose to play Gaelic, and now they're thinking to themselves, geez, I wouldn't mind. I know I'm a good player. I'm an athlete. I wouldn't mind giving it a go. Or how many athletes out there are multi-sport and just want to give one sport a go before they go to college, for example, or before they embark on that? Or how many athletes out there have been just fully focused on their studies, and now they're 18, or they're 18, and they say, look, I'm going to give football a real go. I want to give it a go. I've done my thing. I have my place in university. I want to give this a real go and see if I can actually get up to the kind of level that I want to get to. So these are the type of opportunities that are available. Some cost money, some don't. Sometimes you can get scholarship for different things. That's not what we're about. We're about making sure at Striker Online, we want to tell everybody about the different opportunities that are out there. They try and give you some diplomas and credit. It's not diplomas, but they try and give you some professional qualifications for delivering art and cultural things that are outside. Okay, so this is really important, right? Because there's so many opportunities now growing in football. That's, if you want to apply for scholarships in universities around the world, they're going to look for things like work experience. Are you good at doing training camps? And the best thing is for footballers to learn how to give, how to be seen to be giving, and to be seen to be taking part in community driven initiatives. And that's where the type of training you're going to be getting at this type of academy in Real Sporting de Gijón. Very strong on social responsibility, volunteering, skills development, networking. And here we go. Look at this. This is your timetable, your typical timetable. So, start the day, team training on Monday, recovery time on Tuesday, team training on a Wednesday, Thursday, team training on a Friday with opposition analysis, team training again on Saturday, pre-game gathering, which is always a fantastic process to go through. And then obviously you have your regional games, so you're living the life of a professional footballer here. Then there's also study, individual training, there's team training again in terms of fitness, activities throughout the week, then you're eating together, and of course there's always time to recovery and rest. And the whole thing is, this is accommodation, the whole lot. Everything is included in this. And again, what's expensive to some is cheap to others, but in terms of the opportunity that this presents to people is just, it's just incredible. Now, the Moreo training complex is just absolutely superb. It's just set a little bit outside. Now, when I say a little bit, like it's 3 minutes outside the main town. Kind of looks down on the rest of the town. It's got 4 natural pitches. It's got 4 synthetic pitches. It's even got a beach ball pitch, a sandy beach ball pitch. It's got locker rooms. It's got the whole thing. It's got a shop, a bar. It's got a restaurant, all that stuff in it, and it has the residencies there as well. And they use the same thing for summer camps, and it's a whole hive of activity and a very well known place. Now look at this for a stadium. This is a lovely 30,000 seater stadium, right? With atmosphere that is renowned around Spain. Okay, it's yards. The stone's throw from one of the most beautiful beaches in Spain. Really, really, really long sandy beach with waves for surfing, and when the waves are terrific. And the amazing thing is, from Dublin, it's only a 2 hour flight, and this is a new flight from Ryanair. 2 hours and you're there. An amazing city to really get a sense of what it's like to live in a football centric, sport loving, surf loving, nightlife loving town of Gijon. And then these are some of the quarters that they've built. So this is all included. So they have 20 double rooms, catering area, esports area, nice one, and locker rooms and all that stuff. It's a 10-month program. I mean, they're looking to whittle down their applications, see people that qualify in August, go through the medical tests, and then the season starts in September right through. There's a Christmas holiday period, and then back in January right through to the end of May, and it finishes off in June. So it is an elite program, okay? It's not opened up to anyone, and it's not about how much money you have. This is an elite program for people who are serious about trying to make a career in football, who maybe for whatever reason are not fitting into the path are currently, or maybe they just need another go, or maybe they just need to approach things differently. This is a lateral move. It's a different way of looking at getting yourself to the next level. So 40,000 for a 10-month program, 40,000 euros for a 10-month program, all in, accommodation, food, the best of training, playing in matches, playing in the team, being there, being developed, giving it one last go. One last go before the start of your whole life. And parents out there need to educate themselves on the myriad of options that are now becoming available. And one of the key things, I believe, is that by demonstrating the multiple opportunities that are available out there in football, from refereeing, club administration, coaching, sports science, nutrition, social media, technology. There's just so much stuff opening up as this game grows and leisure activities increase, or leisure time increases, that often if you can find something in football that drives you besides playing, something that interests you besides playing, all of a sudden you begin to be free of the pressure to make it in the professional game. And sometimes that freedom, that relaxation of playing the game, but not being a slave to it, and that type of freedom, that type of objectivity, can help you make the right type of decisions moving forward. And that's really important. Parents and players need to understand the different avenues that are available, pathways that are available. They need to understand the business of football, that it is a business, and that, in a team, in an academy, or if you're playing in a League of Ireland team, or if you're playing on a high level team, you've got to ask yourself, what is your kid learning? What is he learning? If he wants to be a professional footballer, he wants to be someone that is involved in sports, what is he learning right now that's helping him to achieve that? And, I think there's an awful lot of misinformation, and a lot of people don't fully understand the mechanics of the game, of the way it's structured, and why football clubs now need players more than players need football. Okay, so that's a really, really important thing to run. Football needs players more than players need football. Okay, so get that into your head, that you are a huge asset to football, right? Anyone who has a high level ability in football, anyone who understands the game in football, has an incredible opportunity in football going forward, because being even 60%, 70%, not good enough maybe to be a professional player, but if you develop the business skills, the analytical skills, the creativity skills, the organizational skills, the volunteering skills, if you develop those skills around your passion, around football, then all of a sudden the landscape of your future will change, because all of a sudden you will see the huge benefits that you can bring football. And you will see football open itself up, because football right now is full of people, fantastic footballers, great people that have it, but they don't have the other skills. And they need people with those skills to carry football on, to take football from where it is now to the next level, because it's growing at such a pace that we're not going to be able to cope. And the administration of the clubs and the different things, they're all getting older at the moment, and they're going to need an infusion of young people. And that's where you're you are needed. You are needed. And whether you are, at the end of your career, or you're starting your career, or your career has flopped, or you've got injured or whatever, there are so many things that you can add to grassroots football at so many levels. And there are careers within it now. And money is going to start flowing down into the pyramid. And these careers are open to you. And all I'm saying is, take charge of your career. Don't allow somebody else to make the decisions for whether you can spend your life doing what you love. You may not get to play professionally, but by God, you could get to be a professional in the world of football.